Hello, my name is Dick Montanez, and this is a Crisis Compass podcast, navigating faith and intervention. Today, we'll be doing an interview. I have my friend Matt here today, who's been kind enough to agree to do this interview. I want, as I said before, we'll be doing interviews with professionals in the field as well as people who have journeyed with crisis themselves and emerged on the other side. So today, Matt is going to talk about his path, what it took for him, where he's been, where he's at, and where he's going. All of this in an effort to share some wisdom for those that are on the path themselves. So without further ado, I'm going to let Matt introduce himself.
I'm Matt Hess, 50 years old, father of two, and just trying to do the best I can with the life I've been given.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So what I'd like to do, Matt, is for you to kind of talk about a little bit what life was like before recovery.
My life before recovery was just always looking for the next good time. I put so much focus on my using that it became a way of life.
Okay.
Almost to the point where during the summer I wouldn't go to church because I couldn't be bothered, because that was digging into my drinking time.
Mm-hmm.
I, looking back, every time anything went wrong in my life, alcohol was there. And it took me 49 years of making mistakes to realize that that was the case for me.
Okay. When did substance use begin to play a bigger role in your life?
I guess after my father passed away in high school, I never drank before that, and all of a sudden I was inundated with new friends. I suppose parents told their kids, feeling sorry for me, that see what that Matt Hess, maybe take him under your wing. Mm-hmm. Not knowing all the time that that was the wrong crowd to fall into, as far as the activities that they partook in. And then as soon as I realized how well alcohol worked to forget about my father's death, the light bulb went on. That's how I can fix everything that's bothering me in my life. So I guess in high school is when I learned that alcohol was the cure-all.
Okay. And so you've mentioned your father's death. What are some of the other struggles and pain that lie beneath the lifestyle?
I didn't realize that I was still drinking about my deployments overseas. I was constantly drinking about relationships, people, places, things. I would drink at people in an effort to get back at them, to show them how really dumb I am, I guess. Mm-hmm. But losing buddies on our motorcycles was a huge trigger as well, and having survivor's guilt from an accident caused me to continue that cycle of trying to numb the pain with alcohol.
Okay. And so I've heard about high school. It sounds like you were in the military.
Yes.
Yes. What service?
I started out in the Coast Guard,
okay,
and then I retired out of the Army. I did 21 years in the military.
So being in the military, how did you navigate that military life and substance use?
I didn't. It was a cause of a lot of problems in my military life as well. Great soldier, great sailor, but I couldn't stay away from the alcohol. That was my relief. That's how I coped with being away from home for the first time, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Still not completely dealing with my father's death.
Mm-hmm.
I did not navigate the military well at all with alcohol. I was punished several times for being late or drunk or whatever. The military tried. They sent me to a couple of alcohol evaluations, and I just lied and lied and lied through my teeth so it wouldn't affect my career. Said I was fine. It was just a passing thing. And I did that twice in my military career. Got through that alcohol eval. Still not realizing that I had a problem.
Mm. So how did you see yourself during this time?
At that time, I saw myself as, a regular guy. Maybe it was the company I kept, which there's something to be said for that when you live that lifestyle. But I felt like I was a fairly normal drinker. But I don't think I was, and I obviously can never be a normal drinker. But I hid it a lot too. I would seclude myself a lot, and then left to my own devices, drink a lot because I was working a different shift than the rest of the family, So that continued to be an issue.
So where was God back then? And was there any room for faith?
Yes. God was at church. He wasn't hanging out with me. Is how I viewed it. If I wanted to be around God, I'd go on Sunday morning, with the family or whichever. I have always had my faith, but not to the extent or the level that is needed. It was always on the back burner. I never put him first. Never put him first. It was me before all. I didn't realize how selfish of a person I was until I got sober. But I never put him first.
Well, thank you. And I appreciate y'all watching right now. The next part of this will be about the breaking point. Please stay tuned. This is a Crisis Compass podcast. Welcome back. This is Matt. My name is Dick, and we've been talking about Matt's journey to recovery. And at this time, we're going to go into some of those dark times. I really wanted to talk about like the breaking point, where you knew um, where life needed to make a change. So, can you share at what point that you knew that what you were doing was not working and that something had to change?
Yes. I was in what I thought was uh, my forever relationship. I and that relationship revolved around alcohol. That's what we did. That's where we went. Wouldn't go anywhere that didn't serve alcohol. And after having an event with some friends, um, being intoxicated, things got said, and things that were said were not supposed to be said, and it led to a problem with people I hold quite dear to me. So I had a blow up in that relationship, and I knew that I was about to spiral, and I did start that downward spiral because I had no reason to care anymore. And a brother of mine, he came to me and told me that maybe I should give up the booze with my health issues and the way my life was going. Maybe I should give it up.
So, what were some of those thoughts and emotions that you were battling in that season?
Definitely a lot of suicidal idolization. How much better the situation would be for others if I wasn't around. I had to fight real hard against that because the way I viewed things is that my life was pretty much at an end. Everything I had put my whole life's work and energy into in the last few years was now gone.
Oh. So, how did people around you respond? Were they supportive during this dark time? Were they isolating?
People were supportive, but I also, on the other hand, did isolate. That's something I have done, since I can remember, was isolate. Mm-hmm. But now I was isolating without alcohol. And that might have even made things worse. But I knew that the change had to happen. And there was only one way I was going to do it. And that was through him.
So, what did your family look like during this dark time?
I was, I don't live with my daughters, and they're basically grown. So this was something I was doing kind of on my own. I didn't tell even my mother really, because I just knew that I was going to screw it up anyway. And I just didn't want to get anybody's hopes up. Mm-hmm. I knew I would fail. and I just didn't want to crush my mother again.
And looking back now, can you see where God was at when you were at rock bottom?
Yes. It was almost like he said, I could almost hear it audibly. Remember me? And another light bulb went on that he was going to be the answer to this thing. He was going to be the answer to what ailed me.
Well, thank you so much for taking us through the valley. We're going to take a break, but when we come back, we're going to talk about how Matt finally met Jesus. You'll want to come back. Thank you for listening to this Crisis Compass presentation. If this podcast is a blessing to you, would you consider subscribing to this channel? For more resources, please check out our Substack page, Crisis Compass. Now, Dick will continue with his presentation. Hello, welcome back again to this Crisis Compass podcast presentation. I'm with Matt, and we've been talking about his journey through the valley of the shadow. And now we're going to talk about when he met Jesus. And so you've shared that meeting Jesus has changed your life.
Yes.
How did that encounter with Jesus happen?
I guess I had been going to church on a non regular basis, but I really liked the church and really felt like accepted there. So I just made it a point to go there and just be present. And it wasn't long before I realized that to really ramp up my recovery, I needed to be in service to others. Mm-hmm. So that was my opportunity. That was my niche. That's what made me really find Jesus, is helping others and serving others. That's service to others is what is basically what recovery is boiled down to for me.
Okay. So it sounds like that meeting Jesus wasn't just something that happened in the church then, or in a pew.
No. I meet Jesus try to meet Jesus where he's at. And he's not just at church. He's in the streets. He's at the store. He's in the people that they need help, mm-hmm. or need a smile, or just there's so many opportunities to be the light for somebody, just even for a day or for an hour. Yeah. And that's where I've met Jesus.
So when you met Jesus, can you share what God's grace felt like in those first initial moments when you realized that he loved you?
Yeah. Just in the way that, and just the way I have been accepted at at church, the way my friends in Christ, I call one guy my BIC, brother in Christ. The friends I've gained and the relationships I've gained from being there, that's where the grace, God's grace, has really shined on me. And I just thank God every day for recovery, and I think recovery every day for God.
You've shared that service has been a part of your recovery. How early into coming to Jesus did you start serving?
It wasn't long. I had dreadlocks. I didn't have the most church-going appearance, but I think a lot of people gravitated to that I was different. I wasn't cookie cutter. And it wasn't long, and I was asked to be a youth leader. They thought that the kids would really gravitate to the dreadlocks and the tattoos and my general disposition.
So who or what helped lead you to faith and healing during this time? Who were some of those people that really poured that faith into you?
My mother has always been a strong Christian and very devout Christian. And we have really rebonded over the last few years over Christ and through Christ. And I'm now finally making the woman that said I made her proud. I truly feel that I'm making her proud now.
Mm-hmm.
That's just one person. And my other half, my fiance, she is my partner on this pathway. We're both on a Christ journey, and I tickled pink to have that partner.
So was there a scripture, a prayer, or a song that became an anchor for you in this recovery journey?
I guess there is a lot of scriptures. I can't grab one right off the bat, but music. Holy, holy, holy. That song just makes me fall apart, but it's, I think, everything pent up coming out. I guess so much worship music that I listen to, I connect with, and really find meaning in, and really can easily put myself into most stories, but yeah, daily affirmations, things of that nature have helped relationships, constant, morning text relationships with other alcoholics, all of that with my faith community has really brought me up.
Well, thank you, Matt, and thank you for watching. In our next segment, we're going to be talking about faith and what it looks like in daily recovery. You'll want to stay tuned. Welcome back to this podcast presentation. I'm with Matt as he's been sharing his story of recovery. And so at this time, We're going to turn the attention to faith and recovery. So, what does recovery and faith look like daily for you? So, you've mentioned that you've had 2 years recovery. So, what does that faith look like today?
Well, I have a reprieve from a hopeless condition if I stay spiritually fit. If I stay in contact with him, I have a reprieve from a disease which there is no cure. I cannot rest on my laurels, or else I have felt the outcome. I know the outcome. I know how fast life takes a dive when I don't stay in contact with him.
So, it sounds very much like in line with the Bible saying dying to yourself daily. Like,
Yes.
Literally.
Yes. I try to remember and make it about thy will, not my will. And if I try to live day to day with that in mind and keeping his will over mine, I can succeed at this.
So, what practical things help you stay grounded when life gets stressful?
Trying to enjoy the things that even that I took for granted when I was always drinking. Drinking always had to be a part of everything. And I can still enjoy those activities, those old activities, without alcohol. And it really gives me hope when I can accomplish that. Being realistic about the places that I go and the things that I do, that's all going to affect my mental. So taking myself out of situations is not necessarily avoiding them. It's you dipped your toe in and now it's time to get back out. I just try to remember that, the choices I make now affect more than what they used to.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody's got another drunk in them. But I don't know if I have another sober in me.
Wow, that's powerful. That's powerful. You mind sharing that again?
I definitely have another drunk in me, but I don't know if I have another sober in me.
So, how do you handle triggers and moments when shame or temptation shows up again?
I I have not forgiven myself for my transgressions, the things I did, and the person I was in addiction, being a drunk. I have not forgiven myself. And I try to keep that in the back of my head that if I waver from my program, then I know failure is just around the corner. I take great pride in knowing that so far I've been successful at navigating the world. Triggers are always going to be there. Mm-hmm. The appearance from a ways away, how much fun people are having with a beverage or a cocktail in their hand. And trying to always remember that there's a good chance that person is a normal drinker. I can never be that.
That's powerful. So how has your relationships with others changed as you've journeyed right now in this faith that has saved you?
My relationships have gotten so much stronger in every sense of the word. I had to learn how to re-feel emotions sober. All of my emotions and reactions were clouded with alcohol. So I've had to relearn how to feel. And I know that sounds like I'm an infant, but in some instances or ways you are. So I've had to learn how to take things and how to look past words and look for meanings where it's just been a real struggle feeling things for the first time and not running right to alcohol to either numb it or increase it.
So how has community and this current congregation you've are in now, how has that contributed to your ongoing healing?
It's helped a lot. I never thought people would be coming up and asking how things are going for me. There's so many people that know my story at church. I was publicly baptized there, and my story, a little bit of my story, was read beforehand. It must have really touched some people because I get checked on by a lot of people in church, just wondering how things are going. They've asked me to meet with their son or daughter because they are in the throes of alcoholism or addiction, and it means a lot, and it kind of makes me realize that maybe I am headed in the right direction. My church family, the whole congregation, has been nothing but supportive, and I get so much encouragement and hope and just good feelings from everybody that knows my story and knows me at church. I just feel known, and I feel seen, and I feel like that's a place where I can continue my recovery.
Thank you so much. I think that will be a good place to end. We'll be back, and Matt share some closing reflections, and I'll share some closing thoughts. Thank you so much. Well, welcome back to this Crisis Compass podcast presentation. I'm with Matt, and over this last 40 minutes or so, we've been talking about his journey of recovery, how he has journeyed through the valley of the shadow of death and has made it onto the other side. And so before we leave today, I wanted to ask Matt some closing questions to kind of give some reflections and thoughts for those that might be watching that are looking for some encouragement. So, Matt, what would you say to someone listening who feels like they've gone too far from God to reach them?
That couldn't be further from the truth. God is just waiting. You and you hear the call. You feel it. You're not too far. You've never been too far. You can't get too far. He's always going to want to be with you. You just need to want to be with him.
So when you think about the man you were and the man you are now, what is the message of hope that you would like to leave others who are in recovery?
The man I was before was not anybody most of you would want to be around or think that I had any real substance to add to a conversation. I was not someone that you would have been proud of. The man I am now is a man that is on a path to be a better person, be a better man, be a better Christian. The man I am now probably wouldn't talk to the guy I was before. But now is the time. Don't wait until you've lost a chance to raise your daughters or fix your marriage. Now is the time. God's waiting, and he's your answer.
Thank you. That's a very powerful message to end this episode with. And we really do appreciate you watching today. If this has been a blessing to you, I invite you to subscribe. You can also find us on the Substack page at Crisis Compass. We're also on YouTube, we're on Apple, and we're on Spotify. So share this. Let other people know that there is hope and that faith can be something that brings you through that valley to the other side. God bless you, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye. This has been a Crisis Compass presentation. We hope you have been blessed by this podcast today. If you feel blessed by what you have heard today, would you consider subscribing to our channel for all the latest episodes? For more resources, please go to our Substack page by the same name.